Hi folks, this is Mark Smith with Family Tree Brand Life Coaches, and I was minding my own business today, mainly napping. I've been real busy, and I woke up early and I went back to bed and napped, and I hadn't really planned on making a video today, but you never know when inspiration will come tapping you on the shoulder. I have a video for you today that I think is very encouraging and pragmatic. It's called How to Build a Safe Relationship in an Unsafe World. Let me give you a little context. There is a wonderful online conference that's been going on since March the 4th, and it goes until the 13th. Called Breaking Free from Abandonment and Betrayal. And it's free. And there's 30 speakers, including myself. My presentation was Friday morning. Jerry Wise, his presentation is on the 13th. So his is coming up, or his is the 12th, my bad. Look for Jerry Wise on the 12th. But anybody watching this who hasn't signed up for that, you're missing out on some fantastic free material on the subject of abandonment and betrayal recovery. Anyway, so I gave a talk, and there was all kinds of positive things said on the Facebook posting. I've sold like 60 of my books on abandonment. I was sort of feeling, hey, that's pretty awesome, But then there was a comment that was a bit of a critique and could be taken in a negative light. I didn't really take it that way. But it's somebody that I think that is in some pain, and Andy Anderson with her partner Ike Allen own Avaya. I hope I'm saying it right. Avaya, I believe it's how you say it. But they're the ones that run the conference and own the company. And Andy emailed me and asked me to respond to a message on Facebook. And I just have too many words to say to put it into a paragraph of typing. I thought it would be insufficient, so I thought, I'll just make me a video, and it'll not only be for this, I'm just going to have her be anonymous person, but it is can be for anybody who struggles with the message, and I'll get into her message, and then I'll respond to it. How to build a safe relationship in an unsafe world. So let me read this gal's comment. She says, "This past fall, I began addressing my patterns with romantic relationships and the link to abandonment issues in childhood. I have felt that perhaps I can never change my patterns and should just give up hope for having a loving, healthy relationship that lasts. And I may just need to be grateful for the beauty of each short-lived relationship in spite of painful endings and losses." This series on abandonment issues, it came at the perfect time. The first few days sessions were amazing, and I took mad notes and feeling great hope for change. But I have to say, though, that last night, I guess she watched it last night, the session with Mark Smith sent me spiraling backward into the overwhelming sadness and back into depression. The idea that I can only partially heal, plus really having only two choices for a relationship. One, be with somebody boring to whom I'm not really attracted to, but who'll never leave me. Or two, be with a person who really intrigues me, and yet he will ultimately abandon me which is utterly discouraging. Not sure what to think about that. So that was the comment. And what I would say to this person and to anybody, I don't think those feelings are unique to this individual. And I think I maybe did a poor job of describing option number 3. Because I did say there were 2 options. You either pick your type or your anti-type. Here's the third option. Pick your type, but they've got to be in recovery and you've got to be in recovery. And you got to, both of you really work your butts off, and it's going to hurt. Finding somebody who's healed and you being healed and living happily ever after, I'm sorry, but that's just not going to happen. It's not the truth. It's not. I would be doing you a disservice if I told you that were possible. What I am saying that I believe it is possible to build an interdependent relationship from the ground up if you're both in recovery. And I have a list of 20 characteristics or qualities that you will need in order to qualify as option number 3. Pick your type, lots of chemistry, safe enough. Is it totally safe? Oh, hell no. If you think you're going to fall in love and not get hurt at all in the process of building the thing, that just isn't going to happen. It hurts to fall in love, even if you end up with that person, and even if you live happily ever after, there's some hurt along the way. So, number 1 quality that you need to have hope and be able to have a workable, viable relationship that has more windows of heaven than windows of hell is, number 1, you got to understand how profound your abandonment wound is. It's huge. Not the lady who wrote this. All of our, generally, some are bigger than others, but they're sort of as big as the Grand Canyon. They're big. And it's great that we're in recovery, that we have this wonderful conference, that we have all these therapists who understand abandonment. That's wonderful. But the wound is very deep and it's very profound, and it goes back to many of us when we were infants. So you need to, if you're going to date, you need to do so with great fear and trembling, actually, because it's an unsafe world. And the truth is that our sexuality is calibrated by our wounds. Okay? I didn't pick that to be true, but however you're wounded, it calibrates your sexuality. Why did Mother Nature do that? Well, Mother Nature has some designs, some plans, and Mother Nature gives us psychological defense mechanisms to help you get through your childhood. And for most of us during our 20s, Mother Nature wants us to fall in love, get married and have babies and repopulate the species. But there's a third agenda when it comes to romantic love, and that is to dismantle our defense mechanisms so we can heal. So Mother Nature built in a healing property, and that is you're going to like who you're going to like, and you're going to like folks that are in the neighborhood of the folks that hurt you when you were growing up. So you can still find somebody in the neighborhood, just find somebody who's well on their way in their recovery process, and they're working their asses off in the recovery process, as are you, and you can make progress a bit at a time. So the second quality, the second thing I want to say, it's not, this one isn't a quality, is make sure you're ready to start dating. People that are in a real raw, fragile place, they're probably not ready to be dating. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to list some qualities that if you have these qualities, you're probably a good candidate to put yourself out there in the universe and open up your heart and to begin to negotiate this whole process of falling in love and dating somebody and partnering up. So my third point and my really my first quality is you have to be able to withstand a lot of pain emotionally. The people I work with who make progress, they do have enough pain. Sometimes people come in and they don't have enough pain. I can do nothing with them because they have too big of walls, and I can tell them things that are true, but they just don't quite get it. But I also have people who come in, many people I work with it, and myself in 2015, where we're shattered. And if you're not too many moons from a shattering, then the pain is going to be too much. And I think abandonment pain is the worst pain known to mankind. It's really painful stuff. So you have to have the ability to withstand pain but not be overwhelmed with it. You have to have a solid, sturdy, resilient sense of self. A solid, sturdy, resilient sense of self. The next one is to not be too overly trust damaged. We've been shattered, we've been hurt, we've been wounded in our childhood, we've been burned in so many relationships that it's easy to sort of become paranoid. But sometimes to overcompensate for being paranoid, we're too trusting and too naive. And what the middle part is to be cautious. To not be naive and not be paranoid, but to be wise and to know the nature of the world. And the nature of the world is there are a lot of really unsafe, narcissistic people, and my friends, we're wired to attract them. And so we need to go very slow and we need to be very careful. Another quality that you need to have is healthy entitlement. You have to have a sense of healthy entitlement where you love yourself well and you treat yourself well. The next quality is you need to be very assertive. You can't be codependent. This building an interdependent relationship is not for a shrinking violet. If somebody steps on your toes, you need to say ouch, and you need to sit them down and have a come to Jesus meeting very pleasantly, non-reactively, and let them know that's not going to float. You need to know how to set boundaries. Boundaries are set ahead of time. You can be very pleasant when you set a boundary, but boundaries have consequences that are meaningful and painful to the person who chooses to embrace them. So part of being assertive is to be a person who has good boundaries. The next one is you cannot have victim mentality. If you have victim mentality, that's going to destroy a relationship early on. The next thing is you can't have a whole bunch of shame. If one or both parties, what I mean by shame is you're overly sensitive to being criticized. So somebody your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, they critique you this much, but you hear this much and you react this much. I have the hardest time keeping my fingers on the camera. They do this, you hear this, you react like this, it goes to hell in a handbasket. That's shame. And if you're defensive, you're going to have ugly fights, and you're not going to be able to have good communication. So it's imperative that you learn how to hear the other person without being defensive if you're going to build an interdependent relationship. The next one is neither party can really have any active addictions. And I don't mean you can't have a few minor addictions if you binge on Netflix a bit too much, or you occasionally eat too much ice cream. Everybody has, little things that we number, but nobody can be like a sex addict or an alcoholic active in their addiction, or a drug addict, and build an interdependent relationship. The next one is you're going to need to manage your abandonment issues quite well. If you get triggered really intensely, where again your partner backs up a few inches, but to you it feels like this, and to them, and then you react like this, and this is reacting irrationally and reactively, because all they did was back up this far. So you're going to have a grip and a handle on your abandonment issues. So these qualities that I'm mentioning don't have to do with the other person, my friends. They have to do with ourselves. We have to be able to handle our pain, have a solid, sturdy, resilient sense of self, not be too trust damaged, not be too naive, have a healthy sense of entitlement, be assertive, have boundaries, not have victim mentality, not be overly defensive, and manage our abandonment. And then we're a good candidate to be able to work on things with somebody else. But know this, if you have a ton of chemistry with them, you know who they are. Okay? Think about the people you've had a lot of chemistry with, and then how things ended up. The new person, if you have a ton of chemistry with them, they're just a hidden version of them. But that's okay if they're in recovery, and they're going to therapy, and they're doing 12-step work, and they're watching these abandonment videos, and they're crying their tears, and they're not telling lies, and they're being authentic. Then you got something to really work with. Another thing that I would recommend to people who have abandonment issues who would like to date is surround yourself with a recovery community. Don't date and have your dating life be separate from your 12-step life or your work with your therapist or your friends who are in recovery. The next thing is stay away from dating websites or apps. They're feeding grounds for narcissists. Sam Vaknin has said that those sites, especially in midlife, that those sites probably have about 75% narcissists and 25% little lambs who get ripped up. Just sort of date organically as you live your life, as you have a vibrant, happy, healthy life, and you have friends and hobbies, and you have people in recovery. Have them say, hey, I know a guy who I met at a meeting, or he plays basketball with my husband, or whatever, and meet that way. And then you have somebody who knows their character. It'll just be safer. So process all of your dating stuff with your therapist thoroughly. And when you get in a relationship, I tell all my single folks who are working on themselves, as soon as you get into a relationship and you start to have conflict, and you'll start to have conflict early on because you're going to be authentic and assertive, You're not going to just be enmeshed, be numb, be blissing out on the newness of the relationship, but you're going to be real. There's going to be a lot of conflict. That's when the therapy starts. The couple therapy starts. Let's say you've been in a relationship for 3 to 6 months, and you're being authentic and you're starting to have issues. Plunk them down next to your therapist, and hopefully, like what we do is we do family trees or genograms, and we give a lot of feedback. And if that person isn't in recovery, or if they're not capable of recovery, that'll become apparent pretty quickly. The next thing is have realistic expectations, and that is that love is a difficult thing for us folks who have abandonment issues, probably for everybody, but especially for us. And just know that it's going to be difficult and painful, but it's doable. I love how this gal put, I have felt perhaps that I could never change my patterns and should just give up hope for having a loving, healthy relationship that lasts, and may just need to be grateful for the beauty of each short-term relationship in spite of painful endings and losses. So she's saying that, she really wants the stability of something that lasts, somebody that she'll be able to walk on the beach with when she's 75 years old. So just know that this process of building an interdependent relationship, you can't do it in 6 months. You can't do it in a year. I believe the beginning of building an interdependent relationship is more like a 3 to 5 year project. And most of that 3 to 5 years is spent you're doing your individual therapy, but you're also doing some couple work. It's that big of a project. Of course, you'll be working on interdependency in your relationship the rest of your life. Recovery is a lifelong process, but in terms of just building a good foundation, you're looking at least 3 years of really working really, really hard. So again, the goal is a workable relationship that has more windows of heaven than it has of hell. So I really feel empathy toward the gal who made this comment, because she said, last night's session with Mark Smith sent me spiraling backward into the overwhelming sadness and back into the depression. And I say this with a great deal of caring and empathy and kindness, but if one person's words are powerful enough to send you spiraling backward into the overwhelming sadness and depression, then I don't think you're at a place where you're able to quite yet manage your abandonment issues. That's not your fault. I don't think you're at a place where you can manage your shame. That's not your fault. The thing about workshops and conferences and therapy sessions, if it pumps you up, then you operate off being pumped up, then that's not having the solid, sturdy, resilient sense of self. That's being pumped up by a book or by a conference or by a therapy session. But if you have that solid, sturdy, resilient sense of self, and you have your defensiveness and your abandonment under control, even if somebody comes along and criticizes you or says something what you take in as being harsh or negative, it's not going to send you to the abyss. It's not going to destroy you. You'll hear it. You'll take it into consideration. You'll pluck whatever truth you can from it, but it's not going to destroy you. So what I would say to this gal would be, there is an option number 3 for you. You can have what you want. You sound very intelligent. You sound like you've really done a lot of work on yourself, and like you're really hungry to heal and to learn. So there is an option of an interdependent relationship with somebody you are intrigued with. Just take it really slow and continue to work on yourself. Understand how profound the initial wound is, and work on your ability to embrace pain and develop your sense of self, and really develop a strong love for yourself. And I love how you were assertive with this comment. You weren't aggressive at all, but you were assertive, so you definitely have assertiveness skills. And then work on any kind of defensiveness or abandonment. Or see, abandonment, how it comes out, and shame, it can come out as hopelessness. You can feel overwhelmed, and it's something that you spiral in. Okay? Insight you hold on to because it's part of you, but it doesn't cause you to spiral. But shame and abandonment and victim mentality can cause you to spiral. So the good news is that there is hope, and that you can have what you want. And you're in charge of that. You just keep doing what you're doing. Keep watching videos like you're watching. You can't find better material than this conference. These are people that really know their stuff, and just keep soaking in that. But really approach dating with great fear and trembling. And when you're strong enough, when you're solid enough, then stay away from dating sites and surround yourself with a community, and process your stuff with a therapist, and include your new partner if you get in a relationship, and you can do it. You can have a workable, loving, relatively safe relationship with more windows of heaven than windows of hell. So if you guys haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do that. Family Tree Brand Life Coaches. And also check out my book, Managing Abandonment Issues Through Recovery. Hey, listen, I'm sending love and affirmation and things that are true out to y'all in a sincere effort to help you. So thank you for watching, and God bless.